does the name mean? It's like D-O-N-A.
Yeah.
Donuts. Okay.
It means donut in English.
Thank you. And this week it's going to be really important for him because we're going to see if he's using legs or not anymore. So we have to take a decision for him.
So this would be interesting. So for bless you, Donna.
So he could fly. I mean, he could fall now.
No, he's really strong on arm.
Okay, good.
But
This leg doesn't work at all, right?
So
There's one leg.
you
that
don't need
doesn't-
to tell me anything.
Okay.
Just the less I know, the better.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
The
Go
more
ahead.
I know, you're going to think I heard it too.
Okay, got it.
So we would be looking at how he feels physically, how he feels about being here, and what he thinks about rehab.
Okay.
You can ask anything.
I think it's good because it's the first time here in this place, and I think it's a little bit stressful to change and to get this environment.
Okay. And what's your name again?
Clemence.
Let me start with this bit. Often what happens is you get a ton of a story, and often I can be gone 10 minutes and collate the information. Just so you know, the information comes in movies, not in words. It's not like you're speaking.
Okay.
But what's fascinating with him is, and all of them today, nobody's told a story. They get straight into it. So imagine this. When he comes through right away, I'm going to stand up. I won't get too animated because he's there. And of course, there's certain things I see, but I don't want to see anything from him because it's easier if I see nothing. He shows from here down, that it would feel different. So from here. So if I step out of my conversation, I would often describe it to say that we have two individuals. One that can actually feel everything from about here, not necessarily here. And you know these things, remember I don't. So he could have said, oh, it's from here or here or here, but he's saying lower down, something happened, it feels different. Now, one of the questions you're thinking, can you feel? And that intrigues me to go, can you feel? I felt tingling in my legs.
Ooh.
That's huge. I've communicated with a number of other species, and the first thing you feel is like you don't have them. In this leg, in particular, I could feel tingling all here, which tends to indicate there's movement and a chance that one could feel. I thought watching him, he's got no feel in there.
Yeah.
Not true. He shows some feel. I also feel like if you took a pin and you started pricking in places, you're going to see he feels, which is fascinating because of course we don't just prick them. But what it indicates is he's saying, I have feeling in here. I don't think it's the same as everything else, and the communication's not going to reach you so quickly, and it's not 100%, so you could prick in some areas, you're not going to get any response, but others it looks like you could. He's telling you he has a degree of feeling. Okay. Neither do I understand when we say they've been electrocuted, what that truly means. But in his world, we have these posts, solid posts about this large going up. I guess when I've driven by, maybe I think they're telephone poles or something. I don't know what I'm thinking. But he shows it's a pole that looks like others. Kind of isolated. I can only think it's a pole of sorts that we go. And we would see it as this pole with ropes, but he chose the wrong pole. He shows himself falling. I like to think how far, and I would say further than that, from that branch, just a tad higher than that branch there. So just a tad higher. So he shows himself falling. When he fell, you'll know better whether or not the help came fairly quickly. I have him out when he fell, out. So I don't think it was a matter of we're okay and we keep going. I think the fella's out. And then he wouldn't have had a chance ultimately. Be this a common thing with sloths that they electrocute themselves, but he wouldn't have had a chance. So he implies the return of the feeling in the legs is coming, but he also implies a belief of full functioning will not be fast. You're probably looking at full functioning, if at all, so a constant progress within a year. That's how he shows it. So in other words, I like to pull myself out and go, what are you really saying here? Looks like if we're looking to assess him in the interim, we will have an improvement, but maybe not to the level that one would desire within that time frame. But over a longer time frame, we could have a chance of a better improvement. We're not looking short term, we're looking longer term. That's how he shows it. Now, let me ask him if he thinks full recovery or what that means to him. You're going to see a fast and steady improvement. So what's interesting, another human might look at it and say, there's minimal improvement, but somebody that knows him well like you'd have the sparkle in your eye, and you could report back on a daily basis and really say, you know what, he did this today, and others might think, why are you excited about that? But it would be big for you. So to watch him, your improvement could be seen as larger than others on the outside say, but he's not doing this, he hasn't met that milestone, no he hasn't, but he's doing this, and you could have great joy to say, but he's improving, this is fantastic. Do you understand that? Okay. Right, naturally is vulnerable right now. I think in the current condition, in the current health he has, he'd always see himself as vulnerable. But that's tough. That's like asking somebody after an accident, do you think you'll get fully recovered? They hope, but they don't know. If we checked in 6 months, 9 months, maybe he'd have a different outlook in life. But for now, the change in his health would leave him feeling that he'd have a setback that we don't know if we can overcome. Okay. Understand that? The way he describes that's fascinating, not only within the feeling or the movement, but he also describes it to show if he were to go back in a highly populated area, he'd be exceedingly vulnerable. Highly populated meaning cars, people, dogs, totally vulnerable. If he's back in complete wildlife, for some reason less vulnerable. So the placement would make a difference. Again, that would mean way more to you to say, yeah, we put him here or here, but stuck nicely in the forest, he'd be less vulnerable than in a populated area. You can tell me what that means in a minute. Oh, he's right, bless him. I'm thinking, yeah, I didn't say that. I guess I don't know what an electrocution feels like, but it feels like it attacks the nerves. That's his response. I'm thinking, I have no idea, I don't think I've touched anything to know what it does with the body, but it has a direct impact on nerves and the nervous system. Physical therapy. Not quite sure what's classed as physical therapy, but if we create a program within physical therapy, you're going to see improvement. So that means monitoring his physical movement, but also setting up, I'm not sure if you do that, are you a Sloth physical therapist? Because he's coming back with, if I get certain exercises and movement, it encourages the body and the brain to communicate with the body in a very set way. And if we do those exercises, he's got a greater chance out there. I'd love to hear your take in just a moment, because for me, I look at him and think, I don't think we're allowed to touch you. So are you telling me it depends on what she builds here? Because he's showing specific physical therapy. I think we can move the goalpost. So if you've got a certain time frame where you're saying, let's tell here, I've got a strong feeling that's going to move. And it won't be black and white if he's going out, not going out. I think you're going to move the goalpost for him, and you're going to see down the road if we could do a release. So we could keep working towards a release, not a yes and a no answer. He seems quite positive that with the right therapy, which is mind-blowing to look at him, the right therapy, the right timeline, and the right placements of 3 important things where you release him, he could go back out. Which is fascinating. When I'm walking out with Jennifer, I'm thinking, electrocuted Sloth, no way this kid's going to go back out. But he seems quite intent on the fact that if we do this correctly, he's got a good chance. He might be, is it called inhibited? He might be inhibited attached physically. And he's not classing it as a setback. restrict isn't the word either. There might be a change that stays with him. Oh, now I can explain it. I had a car accident and this area is a little bit numb and there's a tad weakness. So what he's saying is there could be a long-term impact that would not be a complete recovery but would not hinder him to go back out. He would learn to adjust. That's what his statement is. So that's how he thinks it's going. That's where he thinks it's going so far. Okay, hold on. That's it. That's it. There he goes. Oh, done. Told my story. I am going to ask him a couple more things. I'm going to say thank you as well. Yeah, food isn't of the issue. That's interesting. So when I'm thinking, well, what about food? Food's not of the issue. So it looks to me like you're not worried about his food intake. That's not the subject here. It's not about what he's eating, not eating. It's not even about his intake of anything. He's saying that's not the issue, so he's shutting me off to go. It's the physical, not the intake. Okay, hold on. Yeah, so that he's, you know, sloths could be short with you and go, okay, we're done with that. All right, next piece. Yeah, that's it. So any questions? Because he's gone quiet. He thinks he's covered it all.
Oh, he just woke up. He was asleep. Sorry. He was asleep. He had his eyes closed the whole time. But he just woke up when you stopped talking to him. He was concentrating.
That's how it goes. It's incredible. They kind of get, all animals get sleepy and then they do something else when it's over.
A weird way of sleeping in the hang glib.
It's fascinating how I put it together, because for me, when I look, I might say, oh, you're a little bloody there, or you lost your hair there. All insignificant to him. You know, so my eye goes to what I see. For him, that's not the topic.
Yeah.
The topic is my nerves talk, or my brain talking to my nerves. So maybe you've had conversations around him and he's picking them up. Either that or he's very smart.
And the one thing I know that Clements might not know is that sloths never get electrocuted on the live wires. It's the pole, like you just said. They go up a pole and they touch. They go up a pole that's wood, and they hit the transformer, and it explodes. And so it's a very strong. And most of them, they either are clung on so hard that they don't fall, or they fall. Yeah. You know, and he fell, obviously.
He fell out on the ground.
Yeah.
And the car hit him.
Oh.
He gets hit by a car too, in the same time.
He shouldn't be alive.
Yes, he's really lucky.
He should
And we
not.
have him for 1 year maybe, and he's much better every day. He feels something is alive. It's much better every day. He gets acupuncture once a week too.
I miss telling you that. I was going to say acupuncture, and then I thought, don't say that. That's just
too out there.
stupid. Yeah,
But it's
I stopped myself.
gold acupuncture too.
Yes.
And does he get physical therapy? He does, right?
Physical therapy, you mean
Where you manipulate the
like
body.
massage?
I only got physical therapy, meaning you set up situations which would be classed as physical therapy. He didn't necessarily show movement as much as you set up things he has to conquer, meaning achieve and advance to, and that he classed as physical therapy.
Okay, so I think not really. We only did acupuncture on him.
Okay, no
And
physical.
Not really.
Not the physical therapy. So, for example, when he wasn't so good, maybe, I don't know, maybe it was an easy thing, and then you brought him to more. That's how he showed it. So the configuration got increased in order for his body to function better.
The physical
That's it.
challenges increase.
Yes, and that's
That's
why
what he
he's
showed.
in boot camp, because this is the first time
We
he's
want
in a
to
big
see it.
space.
Because he were in enclosure, so in enclosure we can see the movement, but not enough because it's like turning around.
Okay.
So that was his next phase, and now
And
this
it's
phase.
the reason why now, just yesterday, we start to see what's happened when he gets more space.
Okay.
And today, this morning, when we came, he was on the ground. So
Where was he?
just down to the pond.
Oh, he wasn't down in the...
No.
Oh.
So we don't know, because maybe yesterday was a stressful day.
Yeah.
To move him here, fight with the other sloth. It was a little bit stressful for him. So we're gonna have a look, keep an eyes on him, and see what's happened. But yeah, I think he needs time.
Yeah.
He really needs more time.
And like she's saying, a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is his reward for being such a good boy. That's why I'm not touching him or anything. And actually, he's quite aggressive when you go close.
Yeah,
It's great.
really.
Yeah.
It's great. It's like the two-toads. They are aggressive. And Wendy is not like that at all.
And it felt to me, which is interesting that I haven't touched him, when it felt to me his bubble's about that big. So horses have an arena length. Dogs could have a house length of a bubble. And with him, he only shows it, let's do it on the tree, about that much. And I thought that was fascinating, and I didn't happen to mention
The
it.
bubble means, so explain, it means
It means
where that's his space.
Yeah, personal
Where
space.
nobody
Bubble,
else should.
okay, it's bubble around.
Yeah, where he
So in
doesn't
effect,
want you
you
touching.
Okay.
If that's him, you could come this place with ease. There would be his bubble. One
And
could
as soon
move.
as I get close
Yeah.
to him, he hisses. And when you did too. So with a dog, it's...
It could be this far, it could be that far. With a horse, it's a full-size soccer
So you
field.
can't go close to them or it
Bubble.
upsets them.
Exactly. So if you've got a wild horse and you step in, they'll go to leave. Even a mile away. I was in Australia, it was a mile away for a wild horse. So the energetic bubble alters depending on how they feel, not the species necessarily. But his, for a wild individual, he showed he's this big.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, even if I could touch you and we're allowed to, you're showing don't come closer than here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did. I came too close just to move to leave, and he got upset.
Yeah.
So that's great. Can you
He's
see the black
fighting. He's
teeth?
really
gonna come
fighting.
Oh yeah, here. Let me change places.
Not come too